What's up guys? Welcome back to another video, another day. Today is Friday. So, after my massive rant and whinge yesterday's video about how I couldn't get an O2 sensor and how much it was wrecking all my plans for the weekend, I got home and I hit up Dan at Simply Tuning there, and because I know he uses dyno dynamics as well. His dyno's dyno dynamics, and he lives quite close to Zach. So I hit up Dan just to see if he had any spare O2 sensors and sort of just, explain the deal, what happened, and just said if he could let us borrow one, I'll just take him back down one of our new ones when they get here next week, in exchange pretty much. So that would get us out of the for the weekend. So Dan pretty much said that he does have some. He's said he's got a couple spare and he was pretty happy to do that, so that is absolutely wicked. But I'm still waiting for him to message me this morning. He said he'd message me this morning and let me know so that Zach could go get it and bring it out today. But he hasn't messaged me yet, so fingers crossed that comes out. If it does, Dan will be an absolute lifesaver. And that way we can finish off Zacs R33 this afternoon, and on Monday I can still start on Adam's car, which everything sort of would then line back up to where it was meant to be. So that would be very helpful. So anyway, in the meantime, while we wait for that, as you saw yesterday, we got this LS dummied in. We are going to make complete new mounts. We're hoping, we had to think about what steel we should have around, and we should have the steel around to completely make new mounts. So my idea is if we're going to make new mounts anyway, I'm going to hopefully make mounts that work with stock engine mount placement. So your stock RB engine mounts would work with the engine brackets. That way, for RB factory and that, it's going to be a much easier item to sell. And obviously he already makes upgraded standard replacement mounts, so it would work with those. So that's what we're thinking about doing. Just seems like it makes a lot more sense to do that than to make them for these tough mounts, which are just a universal mount. But these are too big to go in the cross member where they're meant to go, etc, etc. Makes more sense to make the engine brackets to suit a stock engine mount in the stock cross member. So that's what we're going to look at doing. But before we do that, we need to get the box on and dummy it in with the box to make sure our pinion angles and everything and our placement of the motor is going to work, and see where we need to cut stuff out of the trans tunnel. But before we do that, we are going to continue on with some more of our little shelter. We've got the plan for today is to get the rafters on. If we get the rafters on, that's another step with the shelter sort of done. And then after that, we just got to work on getting the actual roof sheets on, which we can maybe do tomorrow. So a little bit a day just to get it all done. So we'll start on that, and we'll see where we're at with when Zach's going to get here, and then if we got time, we'll continue on with the LS car, keep dummying stuff up. And yeah, just keep on keeping on. Righto, so just quickly sorting out our rafters, where they sort of went in relation to the rest of the shelter, where they started, where they finished, and what joined to what. We're just gonna have to knock all the nails out of them because we're not using nails because we don't have a nail gun. So screw trying to hammer nails back into them. So we're just gonna use batten screws to join them together again. So we'll get all the nails off, load them up on the posi and lift them up and start chucking them in there. It'll be a lot easier to join them up there with screws over nails. So get cracking on that. Anyway, will be one more thing done today. Righto guys, so as you can see, we decided to just get it done, get the roof on it. So what happened is Zach sent me a message, all good, got that O2 sensor from Dan, so a massive thank you to Dan at Simply Tuning for pretty much saving today, essentially my whole weekend and my next week as well by getting us that O2 sensor. So Zach picked that up from Dan, so massive shout out to Simply Tuning for that. So we decided, Zach's on his way out, so we're going to be working on his 33 this afternoon anyway. So we figured there's probably not enough time for us to do what we wanted to do to the LS car today, so we figured we may as well spend the time, just get the roof on this thing so it's done. That way we can, when Zach gets here, we can get stuck into his Skyline, and that'll probably be the rest of the day really. We'll see how the time we finish. We might get some more stuff done on the LS car this afternoon. We'll just see how we go for time. But when Zach gets here, first thing I want him to do, I want to change that exhaust on his Skyline straight away, just because obviously since the other day when we actually bled the cooling system up properly, it's not getting those bubbles. We've done the leg end test, we know it's not a head gasket issue or a head issue that's getting water into that exhaust, which means it's got to be third and final option, which is water condensing in the cat and the cat trapping water. So I'm not willing to risk another O2 sensor for that reason, so I want the exhaust changed straight up because this one doesn't have a cat and it has mufflers. So by all accounts, any water that gets trapped should get absorbed by the muffler packing and evaporate. It shouldn't actually pool in the cat and then spit out water out of the exhaust onto our O2 sensor and cook it again. So that's going to be straight up, which means we're going to move the LS car so that we can put the 33 back on the hoist so that Zach can change his exhaust over. And once that's changed over, we can get the thing back on the dyno and continue our fault finding process of why this thing's running too lean. But as I said in the last video, I'm almost 99% sure that it's going to be a fuel feed problem, but we'll find out. Obviously, you know, the thing with this car is it didn't come to us as a healthy car. It came to us as a broken car that has a history of breaking motors. So, you know, one and one, you put one and one together, obviously there's something in the setup with this car that has been hurting these motors. So it potentially may be fuel ejector, you know, fuel pump. Could be ECU, AFM, could be any of those things. We just got to sort of start where we can and go via process of elimination to see what's wrong with it. So we need to figure it out before it goes though, otherwise it's just going to continue to break motors. So it'd make the whole exercise pointless, which is not what we're about. Righto, so while Zach and other Macs have appeared, we did the shuffle round and we went to whack Zach's exhaust on, and as I somewhat suspected, which is a bit short.
It fits perfectly.
It is meant to be for a bolt-in cat, and well, looking at the ground, I did think that this was a bit short for it, but lucky for Zach, he's here, not anywhere else. And I've just happened to have some flanges and pipe laying around, so we're going to make a little straight-through bolt-in section for him. So just going to whack that up at the moment, and then we can get onto the dyno. While I'm waiting, you can just clean all that off if you want, because I've got some new gaskets there. So. Oh, actually, there you go.
It's a gasket.
Nah, razor still. Yeah, razor it off, clean it up. Righto, one little exhaust cat.
One cat.
Cat.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll paint up them welds with some ceramic exhaust paint just to seal them, and then we'll whack that in there with some actual gaskets, because I actually found that I have gaskets for these in stock, even though the other day we just ultra coppered it back together. Anyway, we'll whack that in, and then our exhaust will be complete. So minor setback, but we're still getting there. There you go, one cat. Just so you all know as well, this belt, I offered to cut it down. Zach said not to, he put it in himself. So
Yes,
that was not
me.
us.
That was all me.
And yeah, it's a cow. Now it's an at because Rex rubbed off the C. But officer, it's an at.
Oh, did I? Oh, shit, I did too.
No, I'll go fix it.
But anyway, we had to put just some copper RTV in the back flange just because the flange on the actual exhaust side is a bit sad. She's a bit of a concave, so we had to put some copper RTV in it just to make sure that seals up alright. But front one's good, everything's good, so now we can hear what this thing sounds like with this big old cannon on it.
It sounds like a dog.
And then, most importantly, we can get it onto the frickin' dyno again and chase some more issues with it. Yay! We still haven't even got to the point where we actually get to figure out what's wrong with it yet. There we go, that's better. Totally legal.
Wait, how do you make a cat face?
Righto guys, we're back on the dyno, just warming it up at the moment. We've got our ECU torque all connected up so we can see. We've adjusted the TPS back to, we've got it at 0.46 volts, so pretty healthy at the moment. So just keeping an eye on everything. Now we can actually see our AFM voltage and everything as well. Yeah, keep going Rex, keep going. That's up a bit. Yep. That's about 800. So now we can see everything. We can see our AAC, your injected pulse, duty cycle. So obviously, like I said, you can't adjust any of this, but it's really, really good for us to see it because it means we can fault find a fair bit with it. So that's step one. So we'll get this thing warm again, get it hot again, and we'll whack the O2 back in. So yeah, this software is definitely awesome to have for this fault finding. So at the moment, we're still just trying to figure out why it's hunting at idle, and when you rev it up, it's coming back and taking pretty much all the timing out and killing it. So at the moment, we're just going to reset the timing. Now that we can actually see what the ECU is doing with timing, we're going to reset it and sync it with the ECU. We've tried blocking off the AAC. We're trying a few things to figure out why the hell it's doing this stupid idle BS. So we'll just keep going with that. Once that's sorted, we can run it back up. Righto, it's a quick starter motor rebuild because it cooked one. And we still are no closer to finding out why it's hunting at idle or acting like a piece of crap. We've disconnected the ISC and tried that. We've tried setting the idle and the TPS about 1 million times. At the moment, we were just getting to just trying to reset the timing and make sure it's synced with the ECU, and then it cooked the starter. So we couldn't get it to start, which was fun. So at the moment, we just pulled it apart. We're cleaning up all the brushes and stuff. Just these brushes are pretty cooked, these top ones especially. But it may be enough just to get us going again today. Running out of daylight, but we might, if we can get it running right today, I'll be happy. But if not, I've got Liam has a spare RB30 motor sitting on his garage floor, which I can go grab this afternoon, which we can borrow for tomorrow to at least get us out of trouble for tomorrow. But Zach's definitely going to be on the lookout for a new starter because this, even if we get this going, it's not going to last for too long. So
Yep.
The way those brushes are. So, but anyway, if we can get it going again today.
The joys.
This freaking cursed car.
What is it with
It is the
working on
STD
cursed
33.
cars?
Me and working on cursed cars. I don't know. I always take the jobs no one else wants.
You know, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Cursed car number 1, RB25. 2, also an RB25.
Yeah, look.
Oh, yeah.
All of this work to chase issues with the stock manifold and stock ECU.
Can we just, may as well just forge it, mate. Just forge
Oh,
it, yeah.
just forge the
That's
ECU.
what we've got.
That's better. Alright, now it's doing what it's supposed to do.
All right. Shall I go back in and give it a go?
Hey, look at that. That's started.
Yeah, start a rebuild. All right, so now get the ECU back up, set the timing, and then hopefully we'll be on our merry way to getting this thing running. Righto guys, so we reset the timing. We've tried blocking off the AAC. We've tried fricking everything to get this thing to idle properly. It's still hunting, and when you give it like a good pump, it's coming down and just dropping and just dying. Honestly, we've chased our tails, using this, like we've using all the tools we can with this stock ECU, and we just can't figure out why the thing is not running properly. To be frank, Zach reckons he's getting another ECU in like a month. I'm just not that interested to continue wasting time to chase this issue in the stock ECU. So we're just going to run it back up now and see what the fuel pressure is doing and see what the AFRs and stuff are doing, just to try and make sure it's drivable so it's healthy. Like at least he knows it's not going to blow up when he drives it. That's the main thing, is to make sure it's healthy enough that he can drive it around. But why this thing won't idle properly and come back from a pump like properly is just, it's at the point where I'm just so sick of it.
What, you sick of my car?
Oh, I'm sick of chasing issues with this POS stock ECU.
Yeah, we'll be getting, well, I'll be trying to get it within a month.
Yeah.
aftermarket ECU, because obviously no matter what we do, we're never going to make this thing as reliable as what we want.
No,
So-
yeah.
Or as
I'm just out of options
drivable.
as to how
Yeah.
what you can do. Like we've got as much scanning shit on it as we can do. We've fault found as much as we can fault find.
Yep.
Righto guys, so we are still having issues with this thing leaning out. It's not as bad as it was the other day, but it's still, we're getting up towards, you know, creeping up towards our 13 and a half AFR under full load, which is just not on. So I had Rex watching our little gauge we put in the rail. He reckons it's not dropping too much. It sort of just sits at 42, which to me at the moment, given the fact that the boost is going up and it should be a 1-to-1 increase, it means it's not doing what it should be doing. Means two things. It could be running out of pump, although generally when they run out of pump we sort of see them dive, but it's not. But it could still be running out of pump, or it could be a bung regulator. So what we've decided to do at the moment, we're going to put in, I've got a spare Walbro 255 and we're going to put in a relay, so that's just relay switched fuel pump. Very common mob on the R33. So we figured that no matter what happens with Zach getting his new ECU and everything else that's happening, he's going to need this fuel pump and wiring modification at that point anyway. So we may as well chuck it in and just see what difference it makes. And then we know if it's still not making a difference to probably be looking into what's going on with these regulators. Which again is going to be one of those things because the regulators on the stock rail, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. It's going to be a matter of, yeah, I don't know, try and bypass
ECU
it.
and a forward-facing.
Yeah, something like another fuel rail with different injectors. All right, guys, so we've got the 255 in. It's in the hangar, it's in the tank. Rex is hooking the lines back up now. As with everything with this car, it was a pain in the ass. You've got a real nice one here, Zach.
Oh mate, I tell you what.
It's pretty standard for this whole working on this car. Anyway, obviously it's going to be,
Fuck this kind of a thing.
yeah, that thing. So not going to happen tonight. We're running out of daylight. Well, we're actually out of daylight. So we're going to continue this in the morning. So tune in then next time. Cheers for watching. As always, hopefully it's a better option then. So hopefully it's a better day tomorrow. We get to the bottom of what the hell's going on. So thanks guys. Catch you next time. Like, comment, subscribe, smash like. I can't remember. My brain's too fried and scattered to do this. So see you guys. Bye.